What is going on tonight, everybody? I wanted to get on here tonight and I wanted to discuss just a little. I wanted to get into my views on keto, on the ketogenic diet, right? And I really wanted to address this because, this conversation has actually come up for me probably 4 or 5 times in the last week, which is interesting because keto is one of those things that comes in waves, right? So I guess it has been really, really big for the past 3 or 4 years, but it seems like it was really big a couple years ago, kind of phased out, and now it's kind of exploding in popularity again. I would say the two biggest, I would say, dietary protocols or fad diets, or I mean, not really even fad diets, because keto really isn't a fad diet. I guess it's been turned into one because there are, some clinical benefits for certain types of individuals, and it's crazy. I mean, keto was actually, I mean, there's a long history on the ketogenic diet, and they actually found out in the 1940s that it does help epileptic children and still does to this day. There's some pretty good research behind that. So I wouldn't necessarily call it a fad diet, but it's been interesting how in the fitness and nutrition space, I would say it really has become a fad. And so, if you're not familiar with the ketogenic diet, right, basically all that keto is basically a very high fat dietary protocol. And so essentially so your body's immediate preferred source of energy is carbohydrates, right? And so keto actually kind of counteracts that. And what you do is, we all know that when you're on a ketogenic diet, you basically deprive your body of carbs. And this in turn, eventually after 72 hours, your body, after having no glycogen to pull from, it will go into using ketones for fuel. It will start to create ketones, right? And so it essentially switches your body's immediate fuel source, right? And so, I would say my views on the ketogenic diet are pretty interesting. I think it does have advantages for, those with like metabolic diseases, those with like potentially neurodegeneration and brain injuries. There's some evidence that shows it helps these individuals. But, would I ever suggest a ketogenic protocol for a client of mine? Most likely not. I never have, because I don't work with I've never worked with someone with a metabolic disease or neurodegeneration, and so, or a brain injury, right? So, and the reason I wouldn't suggest a ketogenic protocol is because it is one of the most restrictive ways that you can eat. It's kind of crazy because people they think, oh, I'm gonna lose weight really fast. I had a friend that just lost 13 pounds in 2 weeks, right? So I'm gonna do this. It sounds great, right? Because we're looking for that quick fix. We hear 13 pounds in 2 weeks and we're like, holy shit, like I want some of that, right? Whatever they're doing. Well, the thing is it's not a sustainable approach because one, I mean, who doesn't want to eat carbs for the rest of their life, right? And essentially this is the protocol that you have to follow if you want to continue to get those benefits from the ketogenic diet. And why I say that is because the reason people drop weight, especially in the beginning, is because stored glycogen is heavy, right? So glycogen in water is usually what is like causing that weight drop, right? When you dump these things from your body, right? When your body has no more glycogen, no extra water, you're immediately going to lose weight quickly, right? This is why a lot of times we see results in a ketogenic approach, or maybe you have a day that's lower in carbs, and so the next day you wake up like 2 pounds lighter. This is the reason for that, right? But the thing is one thing that I see most individuals that come to me that are following a ketogenic protocol, and now mind you, I never tell them what to do. I never tell them, hey, you should, get off of keto, because I don't tell my clients what to do. I help guide them in the right direction, right? But, I'll typically wait for the time that they realize it's not working for them and then help them transition out from there, right? But, so I would say one of the number one reasons it's not effective for most people is most people, you have to have such a low amount of glycogen, such a low amount of carbohydrates going into your body each day to get into ketosis, that the truth is most people that follow a ketogenic protocol are never precise enough to actually get themselves into ketosis. So this is one problem, right, that stands out, is the fact that people think it will be a quick fix, But what's crazy is, dietary fat is so high in calories, right? At 9 calories per gram, that if you're not monitoring your intake, I mean, you could have eggs, cheese, and bacon for breakfast because everyone thinks it's like a free for all, right? But then you're already at like 1,000 of your 1,900 calories for the day, right? Just in that one meal, but you didn't track it. So, you've already eaten half your food for the entire day just at breakfast. So this is one of the biggest faults I see with it is a lot of people don't even measure and monitor their intake. Like if you're gonna do keto, you need to be precise. You need to be measuring and monitoring your intake. But it's just really not a long-term sustainable approach. As I said, one thing to make note of is the fact that it typically has a negative effect on women when you pull carbohydrates from their nutrition protocol, right? The research shows that women do tend to need more carbohydrates to thrive than men do, right? So this is one problem in and of itself. I would also say that anyone who is interested in building a considerable amount of muscle, you're going to do that through the facilitation of carbs. I've never heard of anyone building any kind of muscle following a ketogenic approach, right? Now, there may be some crazy outliers or some science gurus that have looked into this stuff. Like I think Mark Bell was doing some sort of protocol like this. I didn't follow along close enough to see, but for 99% of people, right, you're not going to gain any muscle. So if you're a guy that wants to build muscle, the ketogenic diet is definitely not for you. I would also say there's no research to support that it helps enhance or improve athletic performance. So not good for athletes, not good for anyone in really any kind of athletic endeavor, I would say. And so guys, the quick weight loss can seem enticing in the beginning, but when we start to peel back the layers, we realize there's a reason that not everyone does this, right? Not everyone is on a keto diet because it really just it's not superior for fat loss. And the hard part is I've never seen a client of mine successfully go into ketosis, go into keto, lose a bunch of weight, and then successfully transition out, right? Because you need to do it in more of a tapered fashion. But most just don't. They go back to the way that they used to eat, and then they gain all that weight back that they had lost. They gain it pretty immediately, and then they're left pretty defeated, right? So these are my views on keto, guys. If you have any questions surrounding keto, you want to get deeper into some of the science, or you just want to discuss, talk about things that you've heard, or see what is right for you, what is the right dietary protocol for you, hit me up, shoot me a message. We can definitely discuss. And if you have any other, there's any other dietary approaches or nutrition protocols that you'd like me to dive deeper on, just shoot me a message. Let me know. Be glad to go into that stuff. So anyways, hope everyone has a good night. Appreciate it.